All right, good afternoon. Got some interesting things to discuss this afternoon. No coaching video, but got some other plans for today. We did have a couple of really interesting scenarios on the weekend. I want to invite Michael Jeske to unmute himself to take us through what happened at the end of his game and what we sort of decided as a result of that. It was my big concern when we introduced 666 that this might happen. It was probably good it happened on the weekend. It allowed us just to kind of clear a few things up. And I'd rather it happen now than in the finals and certainly the grand final. But over to you, mate. Tell us the last moments of your B grade game on the weekend.
Okay, thanks, Colin. Just apologies for my voice. I've got a shocking cold, so I'm just sucking on strepsils all afternoon. So the last minute of our game at Karen Rolton Oval, Old Iggy's in Brighton. A goal was scored with pretty much 55 seconds to go of the game. Bounced through for a goal, so the boundary umpires got the ball back to me in the middle fairly quickly. Just as I released the ball for the centre throw up, my younger colleague in that forward 50 for Old Iggy's blew his whistle for a 666 infringement. So I identified the player. I think he was asked to move. I'm not sure, but so when the ball bounced, the captain of Iggy's actually threw the ball at me with some force, and it went over the top of my head. So that probably wasted 10 or 15 seconds to retrieve the ball. But that gave me a bit of time to actually look at that player who'd made no attempt to move. He was the seventh player in the back 50. They were the winning team at the time. So I decided to pay a free kick for time wasting. So I awarded the free kick to the ruckman. He kicked the ball to the contest, a stoppage and siren. That's pretty much how it's transpired, Colin. I don't know if you saw the video or not, the last
Yeah, I
minute.
did. I did have a look.
Yeah. So,
Well, yeah, the boundary umpires certainly got it back quick. They did a
so I
great
was, I was very mindful to get the game going as quick as I could because, you imagine all the Iggy's players were all yelling at me to get moving, knowing that there's only probably by that time 40 seconds left to go.
Yeah.
We had no problems at all during the match with the 666. They all lined up perfectly, had no issues at all. They all knew where they had to stand. So whether it was a coincidence, a mistake, or a deliberate tactic in that last 40 seconds for that, and he wasn't a rover either. He was a key position player from the forward lines that decided to stay there.
Yeah.
So only him and the Brighton coach would know if that was a deliberate tactic. So we paid the warning, and then because he wasn't going to move and it was not much time left, that's why I paid the free kick in the centre.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So some lessons to be learned from all this, and obviously the coach and the players were pretty upset afterwards and come up and had a few words. I've spoken to B grade coach since and just outlined what we might do here. So I guess the number one thing is that what the boundary umpires did well was get the ball back quick. So I guess when we're at the end of a B grade game, a C grade game, or a women's game, where there is no time on in these circumstances, we all need to be really aware of the circumstances and encouraging the boundary umpires to get the ball back quickly, or in the case of the C grade where you don't have boundary umpires, just getting the ball back quickly is important. Then it's a matter of while the ball is coming back, to be really proactive about getting the players in the 666 now, because it was a first time for you guys. I guess if we had our time again, I would probably have preferred you to be a little bit more proactive in that area rather than realizing just as you're about to throw the ball up that it was an extra player. But I guess it's a good lesson for us all that in those circumstances it's front of mind. And so we should be calling out to all players to get back into position as quickly as possible. And if you notice in particular that a player from the side that's in front is out of position, you should really be calling out with some urgency that you need to sprint immediately. And then when the ball is in your hands and you're ready to throw it up like you were, that's the time where I wouldn't be giving any warnings. If the team is in front and they're basically not in position, it's an immediate free kick for time wasting. Now, in discussions with Michael, the interesting back deck here is even though a free kick was paid in the middle, uh, Brighton still had the advantage of having seven in the forward line for Old Iggy. So therefore, they did like basically somewhat clog up that forward line. So really, what I thought about immediately is really should that free kick be paid in the middle? And the answer is no in those circumstances. It goes to where the player is that is wasting time. And in those circumstances, Michael, the bloke just plonked himself in the forward line. He wasn't moving.
Yeah, that's right. He was probably just a little bit to the right of me, standing
Yeah,
on his own. So, and he was a key position player too. So it
yeah,
wasn't if it was a rover or a wingman. The wingman were all in their positions. So yeah, so in the haste of getting the game going, and then luckily I just had that extra 2 or 3 seconds to realise that he wasn't moving. So
yeah.
yeah, so
So what I would say from here on in is we pay the free kick where the extra player is. And if you're uncertain which one the extra player is, make it the one that's closest to goal. So essentially, we want to avoid having to pay a free kick by being proactive and giving the message to all the players to hurry up and get in position. But if it seems like it was an obvious tactic, and if it's an obvious tactic, and we've given them the warnings, we want to make them pay. We basically want to have them shot for goal. Of course, through communication, we want to try and avoid that. But if they've decided that that's what they can do in that circumstances, they're paid a price by us paying a free kick, where it will turn into pretty much a shot for goal.
yep.
All right.
Just on
Uh,
that, Colin, when I was in Northern Areas, when that first 6-6-6 rule came in 6 years ago, 2019, was it?
yeah,
So after about 6 or 7 rounds, we'd given out so many warnings that we actually went to the immediate free kick and a 25-metre penalty and had no issues after that. So there was some deliberate tactics too. So once we actually paid, I think Northern Areas have fallen back in line with the SANFL recommendations now.
yeah,
But once we went to the free kick in the centre plus a 25-metre penalty, actually it was actually to the 50 because the grounds in Northern Areas are big ovals. So it
yeah,
was actually it was to the top of the 50. So
yeah.
it gave him a bit of a shot on goal if it was a good kick. So, and that was the ruckman had to do that.
Yeah, it's good feedback. We'll
Yep, yep,
certainly have a think about that in the future. Um, as I've been saying all along, under normal circumstances, we do need to kind of use that communication and help get set up without going to a warning or a free kick. Because in most circumstances, it's not a deliberate tactic, and in most circumstances, it doesn't really matter. It's just at the end of these games with no time on, it does matter, and especially if a club thinks that they can get away with plonking someone extra in their, in the back lines, then we've got a way now to counteract that. And if a team learns the hard way, then so be it. Um, I am going to put in the notes just an extra thing. Troy, I'll come to you in just a minute. Just in those circumstances, aside from the 666, we really should have front of mind about teams that are wanting to waste time in those circumstances. So if they take a mark or free kick, then you know, don't just let them sit there and hold the ball. Do the move it now, play on, be proactive in that, and have probably a little less tolerance of them just holding the ball. And certainly for a shot at goal, we don't have a 30-second, um, you know, a shot clock. We don't have someone sitting in the grandstands. Really, it's a bit of a judgment on what's a reasonable time. But if you get the sense that they're just holding on the ball and they're just trying to run the clock down, we don't have a rule which says they've got 30 seconds. So it's really about, okay, now's the time to take your kick. We're not going to allow you to just waste it. So, AFL, they can legitimately waste a full 30 seconds because that's in the rules. We don't have that 30 seconds. All right. So they might whinge a bit, but we're saying, oh, we're gonna move on. You need to have your shot. Don't call play on when they're having a shot for goal immediately, but just hurry them up a bit. Troy, you've got a question?
And not so much a question, but just something like I know you guys have only brought in the 666 this season, and we experienced the same thing back in the leagues, like Michael mentioned early on, and being really mindful with the boundary umpires. If they do get it back quick and they're doing an interchange, and for whatever reason the boundary umpires have brought the ball back super quick, just give them an extra couple of bananas to get into position. And like Colin said, communicate and go, hey, get to your position or whatever. It helps a lot rather than having to pay a warning and everyone looking at us as
Yeah.
well. So,
And yeah.
and is it the same here as well, Colin, that it's when we start the approach? That's the wording, yes?
Yeah, we're not going to be too technical about that.
Okay. All right.
Essentially when you're ready to go. But all I would say is what we're talking about at the end of a game where there's no time on, it does create a different scenario. So if they're wanting to do an interchange in that case, I'd be just telling them to hold off. Like you stay off for now. We're going to get the game started. We're not going to wait for you to run on. That's if it's just before you're about to throw it up. If they're coming on while the ball's coming back, you'd be yelling at them, sprint, sprint, sprint. It's the urgency to get the game started, and we don't want tactics using this rule to hold things up.
Colin,
Yeah, mate.
are you going to articulate that sort of last minute scenario to all the clubs? Because I've only had to do a couple of 666 where I've rewarded a free kick and it's always been from the centre square. I imagine the uproar will be enormous if we did that, where we put the person 20 metres out from goal.
So if you are doing your job properly and you are warning and giving them the hurry up, and you can actually say, if you don't get in position in time, we're going to pay it where the extra player is, then
Right, okay.
they'll move. So
Yep.
all the clubs, all the coaches know if they want to follow what's going on with the instruction umpires, they can access these coaching notes or the replay to the Zoom on the website each week. At the end of the day, this is only really going to hurt any clubs that think that they're going to get away with bending the rules. And if they want to try that, then they cop the consequences. And if you got any complaints in those scenarios, you can say you warned them as it was coming back, and this is the instructions. Certainly, we don't want it to happen, but we also want to have something up our sleeve if it does. So, but I just imagine if you front of mind, we've got a close game here, no time on. We've got to start the game with some urgency and get everyone in positions, and you are being proactive about it. I don't think we'll have a problem. But again, if a club is set on a plan that they think they're getting away with something and against the spirit of the laws, they'll cop the consequence, and so be it. You'll get your full backing of us if you've given all the warnings and they're just ignoring you.
Thanks.
All right, anything else? Interesting one. It is on video if you want to look at the replay of the Brighton Old Eggies game. Be great. A good look. Sean, did you unmute yourself for a reason?
Yeah, sorry, mate. I can't find the hand on my iPad, so I've got to get your attention.
Unmute yourself. I know you want to say something, so all good.
Have I done that?
Yeah, you've unmuted yourself. So did you want to say
great,
something?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned that was only for Bs, Cs, and women's.
Yeah.
What would happen in an A grade scenario in any A grade game?
Yeah. Thanks for asking the question. But essentially, in that scenario, time is stopped. The timekeeper actually stops the clock after a goal on the way back. So there is no rush to get the game started. And you can, just like you do for the rest of the game, encourage them to get in position proactively. But you wouldn't be in any rush so much for wasting time, because you're not wasting time. If there is a delay and they're having to run from one end to the other, you could issue your warning. You could pay for kick if you've already given a warning before, but it's not the same as in a game with no time on. Yeah. All right. Anything else on that before we move on? Okay, the next point was around dangerous tackles. So I just got a feeling that as a whole, we've not been quite strong enough on dangerous tackles. And so if you pay a free kick for a dangerous tackle, which we're certainly getting better at, the next question is it a card? And if you see any sign of player obviously being injured or concussed, or there is remonstration, don't hesitate to use a yellow card. In fact, I'd err on the side of a yellow card in those scenarios because there's some good things about using a yellow card. One, it sends a clear, strong message to everyone that, they better tackle correctly and there's a duty of care. It also, if there is remonstration, gets the player off the field that they're usually trying to remonstrate with. So it helps calm things down. And thirdly, really quite importantly, in the way we set up dangerous tackles is if you've given a yellow card, it gives you the license to upgrade to a red card. And so it's hard to judge at the time. That's why we've given you the ability to upgrade from a yellow to a red only for dangerous tackles. If you see a strike, someone strikes someone, it's a red card. You don't want to go soft on that and just give a yellow and then ring me up and say you want to upgrade. No, a strike is a strike and you give a red card for that. But for a dangerous tackle, what's a yellow card? What's just a free kick? What's a red card? It can be hard to differentiate. So what I'm telling you is if you see something that concerns you with a tackle, at least pay a free kick. If you see the player who's been tackled is clearly affected or there's remonstration, throw a yellow out. You can always, if it's the worst case, you've totally overreacted, we can withdraw a yellow card if we have to, but most likely we won't. But it does, it sends that strong message. It allows you to upgrade, and it gets the player off that it can help control the situation. So I have seen a couple of dangerous tackle free kicks were good free kicks that weren't a card used. I would prefer a card, and we did have a yellow card given last week. So this is the next step. If you've given a yellow card and after the game you think, oh, there's a good chance that it probably should be upgraded, don't hesitate to give me a call to discuss it because the one that we did upgrade last week, it was a late upgrade when it was realised that it should have been a red. And so, that's if we've got video, it's obviously easy to analyse. If there's no video, we can still have a discussion about it. But these days we cop criticism for not taking action on dangerous tackles, where a few years ago it was sort of we cop criticism for taking action, but the importance of dealing with concussion and everything associated with it means that we need to be really strong in that area. And obviously, if you see something really serious, throw a red out. If it's clear that it's going to be a suspendable act, then pull your red. But if you're not quite sure, at least use a yellow in a lot of these cases. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, so we did have an abandoned game on the weekend. I'm not going to go into the specifics of that particular game. It's a little bit unique and unusual. The umpires concerned had a really difficult situation, and on the whole, they handled it pretty well with some slight tweaks that could have improved their handling of it a little bit more. But at the end of the day, both clubs agreed to call the game off, which is the important part. So what I'm going to do is a rule 32 in the rules and regs about a delayed or incomplete match. I'm just going to send it out. And there's quite a bit to it. It's actually it talks about getting the captains together and getting them to agree on what happens. Once it gets to 60 minutes, if you're talking about an injury or weather event, if you can't get it started within 60 minutes, it has to be abandoned. But if it can start before 60 minutes, it's then how do we go about playing out the rest of the game? Is it shortening the game? It has to be some sort of agreement there. And usually the clubs do agree on the way forward. If there's any disagreement, then it does come back to the umpire according to the rules and regs to make the final determination. But I guess in those scenarios, it's really worthwhile perhaps getting on the phone and getting Pete and I or John Kernahan or someone else in the league in on the discussions. Last thing we want is, I guess, to be enforcing something on the day that there's some dispute between the clubs about how it was handled. The good thing about the weekend, as I said before, is both clubs agreed to abandon the game and therefore we've had no follow-up from it. but that doesn't always happen. So I'll send out the official rules and regs, have a good read through of that, and then just be aware that yeah, you can get on the phone. You've got time in these scenarios quite often just to confirm what's going on. But if you come to some agreement with everyone and everyone's happy to proceed in some respects, then yeah, that's the key. That's the key to it all. I did have a women's game earlier this year where we had a player who got had to have an ambulance come onto the field to get her. We were able to get started within 60 minutes. We ended up, it happened early in the second quarter. Clubs were both happy to get rid of the second quarter or finish the second quarter. And we played reduced time in the third and fourth, so we completed the match. There's different ways around it. Obviously, yeah, it depends on what time of the day it is and, the lighting or all that sort of stuff. But yeah, it can be a bit tricky. And so just be aware of what the rules and regs are. So when I send out the notes, have a bit of a read, and then don't be afraid to get in touch if you do want to yeah, go through it on the day. Any questions on that at all? All right. A couple of milestones for this week. A couple of boundary umpires doing their first men's Divi 1. So Callum Coon and Jade Ferry. I'm really excited to see Jade do her first men's Div 1 game. I umpired with her back in Sandford. Oh, God, I'm going 25, 30 years ago now. She's been up in Darwin and came back and lived here a couple of years ago. She's a very friendly and energetic lady, and so she's been committed and worked her way through the ranks and gets her first Div 1 game this week. 50th game is Stuart Hood in the goals, and a big 400 games up for Johnny Vass in the field. So well done to all those milestone umpires this week. Any questions or comments from anyone from their game or an AFL game or anything else that they saw over the weekend that they want to raise?
Hey, Colin, I have one.
You're not going to bring up what we talked about last night, are you?
Oh, no. No.
Ali was not the only Port supporter that contacted me about the amount of free kicks played in the Port game, but anyway.
Yeah, that was nuts. No, it was something that happened in my game on Saturday afternoon. I was with Chris Cummins, and I said to him that I would raise this with you, Colin. And I reckon when it happened at the time, it made me reflect on a quiz that we'd done, I reckon, a couple of years ago. Those really good quizzes with all those kind of one-off events that happen, and you go, "Oh, that'll never happen," and then of course it does. At a time when you go, "Oh my God, I don't remember what to do." But essentially, what happened was we were at Duncan Fraser Reserve. The lines were very poorly marked. I mean, they were almost non-existent. So I felt for the boundaries a bit. But anyway, one of the players was kicking in, and suddenly I wasn't in control. So I mean, I was kind of zoned in, but not as much as I would have been if I was the in control umpire. But suddenly the boundary yells out, "Oh, she hasn't kicked it in the field of play," and she kicked it straight out. So she was kicking it in from outside the boundary, and it never came in the field of play. It went, like, I guess, straight out of bounds.
Yeah.
And the Chris made the call to give the free kick, and to be fair, I would have done the same thing. But we both knew when we kind of convened at half time that we both said, "Oh, we know that was not the right thing," because we remember this quirk. And so I said I would raise it with you.
Yeah, good reminder. So if the player taking the kick from out in the full or last possession or whatever it is, or even is taken a mark and they've gone outside the boundary line, if they come into play or the ball comes into play and then goes out of bounds, it's obviously out of bounds if it lands over the line. But if they're kicking and it never comes back into play, then the actual rule is, and it is a blue meter, that you throw the ball in from where they kicked it. So, look, very few people actually know that rule, but that's what it is. And so, yeah, interesting it happened. As I said, I doubt anyone at the ground would have known that's the rule. And so, but yeah, that's what it is. If they kick it from outside the boundary line and it stays out the whole way, then it's
Yeah.
thrown from where they kicked it.
Oh, that's interesting. So you go back to where she kicked it from. So that's the
Yeah.
first thing, the
Yeah.
ball in. But also you're saying that if she had stepped over the boundary line to like into the field of play
Yeah.
and then kicked it and then it had gone out, that would have been a out of the
Well,
full.
she's brought the ball back into play and then she kicks it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That can be hard to judge too.
Yeah,
So
yep. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, thanks, Colin. We both looked at each other and we both knew it was just one of those things. But I put it down to the shocking marking of the lines. And at the end of the day, I think giving the free kick was not the worst thing. Like, I think it would have, yeah, people thought, oh, yeah, that's reasonable.
to say that according to the line markings, you couldn't see if the ball came back into play or not. And
Yeah.
it's no big deal.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ali. Anyone else?
Yep, Colin, have you got me, mate? Sean.
Sure. You look like you're in a basement somewhere.
I'm in a fire. I'm actually in a fire tonight.
Nice. Fire away, mate.
Very similar question to what I was just asked, but I had an incident on Friday night, one of my games. It was an indoor game, but yes, the same rule would apply, I guess. But the player A has kicked the ball out of bounds on the full, right next to the behind post. And then so the team, the goal umpire or the field umpire set the mark at the front of the square, which you should do. And then as the player comes and steps over to kick the ball, they haven't entered the field of play and they haven't kicked the ball over the line, but the ball is skewed off the side of the boot and into the back of the behind post.
Yeah.
So what would be your call on that one?
So actually, we discussed, or it was mentioned in the coaching notes last week. So when you're looking at deep in defence and it's not ball back into play properly, we just give another kick. So if they've kicked it into the post,
Yeah, that's what
or
we
if they kick
thought.
it, if they run around the wrong side of the post, then at AFL level, they would, depending on which side of the post they run, it would either be a throw in or a point scored. But with us, we just reset it, just give them another kick.
That's right.
And it was brought about by something that happened in a game last week, which I understood that was the case, but I was speaking with the umpire concerned, and it was actually a different scenario. And Aidan, I haven't actually watched a replay yet, mate. I'll get back to you on that one. It's the beauty of doing this game.
Right, I was going to message you. Thank you.
Sorry, mate.
Yep.
That's all right. I know you're a busy fella, so.
Well, I went looking for it. I couldn't find it, but yeah, that's right. I'll paste it up. I didn't get a chance.
Was the time wrong that I sent you, or
like
the link?
Might be one I can look at we can look at all together next week if it is something really a bit unusual.
Yeah, it was weird. All good.
Yeah, no stress. Anyone else? We've actually gone a bit longer with all this stuff that happened on the weekend. And what I was planning on doing was, like I did last year, just interviewing different umpires and getting a bit of a background on their story. And hey, do you want to just unmute yourself?
Yeah.
I'll do it with you, mate. We won't have any time for anyone else, but I just kind of wanted to get a bit of a few things that people might not know about you, a bit about your story. Jason Mounts called this the drip tray, Colin's drip tray last year, but yeah, just a few questions. I won't ask you what your favorite vegetable is or whatever Sampan does, but tell us a bit about your umpire. First of all, can you make yourself seen, like camera on or not? Ah, beautiful. That's it. Better than looking at a screen with just your name on it. That's it, mate.
Yeah.
So, tell us how long you've been umpiring for, mate.
I started in the midway through 2018 season.
Okay.
In the boundary
before that,
when I was on the boundary when I was, how old was I then? 15-ish.
Yeah.
14-ish. Yeah, so back in Victoria, in Bendigo, I heard a teacher talking about it at school, and he said they were looking for boundary umpires. And so I went along to a training on Thursday, and then on Saturday I was running the boundary um, for a B grade game back home. So it was pretty. They were pretty desperate, I think, for some umpires, but I'd played footy before that, so um, yeah, sort of knew the rules and knew how to blow my whistle if it went over the line, and then I figured it out from there.
Yeah, nice. So you transitioned to the field pretty quickly.
Did my first field game in 2020, so I did two games before the season was called off in the under 12s. So I was in year 10 then. So yeah, I did two games then, and that didn't last very long. And then yeah, worked my way from the 12s to the 14s and 16s. I'd often run two games on the Sunday while still running a senior boundary game on Saturday afternoon. For a bit before I fully transitioned to just doing field games. Um, Usually like under 18s in the morning, which is like equivalent to the C grade here, and then a B grade, and then eventually to some A grade games.
So
And
you were in
then
Bendigo. What made you come to Adelaide?
came over here to study, so graduated in 2022, and got into Flinders Uni over here. And my coach at the time in Bendigo, umpiring coach, he knew someone in the sample, so asked them if they had a place for me, and they did. So I was able to come over and start umpiring there, which I did for 2 years before joining the Adelaide Footy League last year.
Yeah. So you're still fairly new to umpiring, considering you've established yourself in Div 1. You really haven't been umpiring all that long. And just tell everyone what you do for study.
I'm studying medicine, so I'm in fourth year at the moment. So I have 2 more years to go after this. And yeah, so far it's going well, but keeps me pretty busy during the week.
Yeah, nice. So you'll be busier when you actually graduate too, all the shifts, etc. So do you see long term still be able to combine umpiring with being a doctor, or how do you see it?
Hopefully, uh, yeah, if I can get Saturdays off or Saturday afternoons at least. I did know a guy who was doing the same degree as me. He was at the Samful and he was 2 years ahead of me. And he was managing it at that point, and I don't know if he's still umpiring now, but or if
Do you know what his
he's
name is?
it was Alex, someone, I'm not sure. He wasn't doing league games. I think he's doing 16s and 18s, similar to me. But yeah, I'm not sure if he's even in South Australia anymore. He might have moved to, because I'm not sure if he was from South Australia during it as well. He was just studying here.
Yeah.
But
So
so yeah, I'd have
so
to
you
look him
haven't come
up.
over with family. You just come over purely to study.
Nah, just purely to study. So it's about a 7 hour drive home, so it's not too far. And I usually get back in the holidays. So yeah, just lived at like student accommodation over here, and now just in a rental. So with a few mates that I've met. So yeah.
Nice. Sam wants to know if you can write in the script, but I don't know
Uh,
what
n-
for. I probably don't want to know. So
no, I can't yet. No, not yet. Another 2 years, and then I'll be all over it. My dad asked me the same question, so
very good. And single or got a partner?
I do have a partner. I've been together for a few years now, but yeah, just over 3 years now. So I met her here, and she's from Melbourne. So yeah, she's a physio.
Nice.
So she's just finished studying as well. So yeah, she's good.
Very good. And yeah, what are you enjoying about the Adelaide Footy League?
I like it. Feels like home. There's a big range of umpires, so you have 12-year-olds running the boundary up until uh, we'll say older umpires still doing the goals. So that's something I like. Um, yeah, having a big broad range of people, and yeah, just meeting different people every week. Everyone's usually really friendly, and yeah, just like being involved in footy. And yeah, so that's probably what I enjoy. Enjoy coming to training and talking to everyone and what they're doing with themselves as well.
Very good. Was there any ambition obviously not to stay at the Sandford? Was it just that the training commitments got in the way of?
Yeah, so my sort of uni commitments and other commitments got in the way a bit with their training intensity. But yeah, I might maybe one day if I ever want to continue to do a higher level or go to the AFL. But at the moment, no, I'm pretty happy where I am, and I'm still going to be in Adelaide for the foreseeable future.
Very
At
good.
the moment while I'm studying, so maybe one day, but not at the moment.
We're happy to have you, and it's nice to have a tour of your house too while we're talking to you.
What was that, sorry?
It was nice. It's nice to have a tour of your house, walking through the different
Oh
rooms.
yeah, so I have to plug my computer in before it dies.
Nah, all good, mate. All good. We're just about to wind up. So I really wanted to pick out 3 or 4. We'll do it on another session. We spent a lot of time covering some different rules, which was worth doing. Thanks for the chat, Aiden. Yeah, please you could
Thanks, Colin. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. And it looks like the weather is finding up, thank goodness. And we should be able to train this Wednesday night. So we haven't got too much lately. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you all on Wednesday night. The big puddle that was down the southern end on Adelaide Uni Oval was there for the game on Saturday. So whoever was umpiring there in the A grade, that would have been interesting. But let's hope that's cleared up. So yeah, without any further ado, I'm going to wind up now. Thanks for the chat. It's been an interesting Zoom, and we'll see what this week brings us.